Close your eyes gently and let silence wrap around your soul for a moment. There might be a quiet longing within you, a deep desire for something that never seems to fully arrive. Perhaps you've tried to convince yourself many times that your faith is enough, and it is. But there's also a shadow, a silent, persistent fear that whispers in your most private moments. What if it never happens? What if spiritual or material success just isn't meant for me? Today, give that fear a seat. Don't push it away. Don't repress it. Let it be present like a quiet, familiar visitor. You've likely heard how important faith is, and maybe you've believed that faith means not questioning, not doubting. But what if faith is something much deeper, something vibrational? Napoleon Hill, a man who studied success with almost spiritual devotion, taught that true faith isn't the absence of doubt, but courageous action despite it. Applied faith, he said, is like walking a path shrouded in heavy fog. You don't see the whole road, just the next step, and still you take it. Not because you're absolutely sure, but because you feel a quiet certainty within, a vibration that sustains you. Florence Scovel Shinn, with her gentle and wise clarity, once said, "The brave soul attracts the unexpected." Her words echo a line from Psalm 27, "The Lord is the strength of my life." Notice, it's not about an external force far away. It's about a living presence vibrating within you right now. That inner presence is what we call vibrational courage. It's the energy that allows you to attract what once felt out of reach. You see, Psalm 27 isn't just a religious text. It's a symbolic map, a guide for the kind of mind that remains grounded and unshaken, even when everything outside begins to collapse. It's not a call to blind belief or to eliminate fear. On the contrary, it invites you to acknowledge fear, but to stop identifying with it. It shows us that true faith is emotional coherence between what you think, feel, and do, no matter what your external world looks like. Maybe until today, you believed real success starts with strategies, and maybe you even blamed yourself when those strategies didn't work. Take a deep breath now, don't blame yourself. Real success, the kind that endures, the kind that transforms, always starts inside with a coherent and stable vibrational structure. That's what Psalm 27 quietly teaches us line by line, how to maintain emotional alignment and activate the kind of vibration that manifests peace, clarity, and power. Now slowly feel this truth settling in your body. Breathe it in gently. Don't rush to figure it all out. Just allow these words to enter with softness. You don't need all the answers right now. Just open yourself to this frequency of courage, slowly beginning to grow within your heart. Psalm 27 today will be more than a prayer. It will be a vibrational portal, an inner path you can walk slowly, deliberately, step by step, building inside yourself the kind of unshakable mind that attracts and sustains the success you've always longed for. It doesn't matter how many times you've faltered. It doesn't matter how loud the doubt still whispers. Remember, real success is first built inside you as a deep and constant vibration that no fear can silence. Take one more deep breath with gratitude. Let yourself become slowly the living vibration of Psalm 27. Let it move through you, alive, steady, and magnetic. The gateway is open, and it's quietly waiting for you. There's a verse in Psalm 27 that feels like it was written for those moments when the soul feels utterly alone in life. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Maybe you're not facing soldiers, but something more silent, more subtle, a kind of army made up of doubts, old fears, voices inside you whispering that maybe you're not good enough, maybe you won't make it, maybe you're just too alone to keep going. This fear, though rarely spoken aloud, lives in many of us. It's the fear of being left behind by life, not the loud kind of fear, but the quiet one that lingers in the spaces between your thoughts. The fear that even with your faith, your prayers, your good intentions, the universe might forget about you. This subtle sense of spiritual abandonment slowly eats away at your inner confidence. It sabotages your choices, It clouds your clarity. It disrupts your ability to manifest. Sometimes you know exactly what you need to do. You can feel the call, but you hesitate, not because you're lazy or weak, but because something inside is asking, what if I take this step? And no one is there to catch me. This kind of vibrational insecurity wears many masks. It shows up as procrastination, as endless indecision, as anxiety disguised as caution. And the hardest part is that it goes against what you believe in your heart. Deep down, you want to trust. You want to take action. You want to create. But the vibration of abandonment, emotional, energetic, spiritual, locks up your creative power. It's time to understand something profound. Spirituality is not the absence of fear. That's a myth. Being spiritual doesn't mean you've conquered all doubt. It means you choose to stand present in the face of fear, with compassion, with awareness, with courage. Faith doesn't mean you always feel strong. It means you keep going, even when fear walks beside you. That's the power of Psalm 27. The mind that declares, "My heart will not fear," is not the mind that feels no fear. It's the mind that refuses to be ruled by it. When you really begin to accept this, something shifts. Your vibration changes. You start moving with fear beside you, but no longer leading the way. You acknowledge its presence, but you no longer let it steer the course. In this quiet, sacred decision to no longer identify with insecurity, your energy begins to radiate differently. Your decisions become clearer, your intuition strengthens, and most importantly, you begin to feel less alone. Because the greatest abandonment isn't when the world leaves you, it's when you abandon yourself. And the moment you reconnect with your inner courage, even if it's fragile at first, you begin returning home, to the place where your heart feels supported enough to keep dreaming. That's the fortress Psalm 27 builds inside you. Not a wall to hide behind, but a place of internal safety where faith is no longer theory. It's a living, breathing presence, strong, still, and gently waiting for your trust to return. Let this truth sink into your soul now. Even if all seems against me, my heart will remain firm. Don't just repeat that phrase. Feel it, choose it. Let it echo in your body, your breath, your being. Let it become your vibrational reality. Because when you do, everything around you begins to respond. There's a subtle and dangerous trap that many spiritual seekers fall into, confusing faith with performance. Maybe you found yourself here without even realizing it. You've recited Psalm 27 with intensity. You've prayed with urgency. You've lit candles, made promises, repeated affirmations. But deep inside, there was a frequency of desperation, an inner vibration of urgency, of pleading for something, anything to finally shift. That's not a failure. That's simply being human. But it is something that must be seen, felt, and gently transformed. When you speak powerful words without embodying the emotional state those words require, a dissonance is created, and that dissonance is felt, not by some distant, judging God, but by your own body, your nervous system, your energetic field. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully. The brain does not rewire itself through words alone, but through coherent internal experiences. It is emotional alignment that creates new neural pathways, not repetition without resonance. So when you say, Adisen, the Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? But deep down your heart is trembling, your gut is tight, your energy vibrating with doubt. The universe does not respond to the sentence, it responds to the frequency. And the frequency of fear, no matter how eloquent the words, sends out a signal of contraction, not creation. This is where so many people give up. They believe prayer doesn't work, that maybe their faith isn't strong enough, that perhaps they are not worthy. But that's not the truth. What's often missing is not sincerity, but vibrational coherence, the alignment between thought, feeling, and energy. And that alignment begins with honesty, not performance, not perfection. It begins with pausing, with breathing, with asking, what am I really feeling as I speak these words? Are you vibrating surrender, trust, or is there still a vibration of panic hiding beneath your declarations? True spirituality isn't about sounding holy, it's about being real. It's not about saying the right words, it's about living them from the inside out. It's not about impressing the universe, it's about becoming energetically transparent enough for the universe to meet you, feel you, mirror you. And so the first practice is always the same. Pause, breathe, feel. Feel deeply. Feel without shame. Feel with presence. Because when you start honoring what's real in your body, your energy shifts. When your thoughts match your feelings and your actions align with both, then manifestation becomes not just possible, it becomes inevitable. This is the space where Psalm 27 becomes more than scripture. It becomes a frequency, a vibration of calm power, of trust that doesn't need to shout, of faith that doesn't need performance. It becomes the silent energy that shapes your field, because it was felt, not just said. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be present, honest, and willing to return again and again to the truth beneath the noise, because that's where your real power lives. Not in the performance of prayer, but in the vibration that pulses quietly beneath it. There's a line in Psalm 27 that stands tall like a wall of light in the face of chaos. The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? It isn't just a verse. It's a vibrational state, not a promise about the future, not a guarantee of what's to come, but a declaration of presence, of being so fully in the now that fear loses its grip. And perhaps this is one of the greatest spiritual mistakes we make. We try to protect ourselves from what hasn't happened yet, instead of fully aligning with the only moment that actually exists, this one. Somewhere along the way, you may have learned that preparation was power, that control was safety, that mapping out every step would shield you from failure. But what we often call preparation is, in truth, fear disguised as responsibility. It's fear of pain, fear of loss, fear that even with your faith something might go wrong, and so your thoughts speed up. Your energy contracts, you live in mental defense mode, always trying to stay one step ahead of what might hurt. That kind of energy creates distortion. It muddies your vibrational field. You act, you think, you pray, but all from a space of low-frequency anxiety. And anxiety, no matter how quiet, is always a departure from the now. When your mind is occupied with what might happen, your body is absent from what is happening. And presence, true presence, is the only place from which reality is truly created. Whom shall I fear? This question isn't looking for an answer. It's not about logic. It's an energetic recentering. It reminds you that your strength doesn't come from controlling outcomes. It comes from choosing how you vibrate right now, what you feel now, what you think now, what you align with now. That's what shapes your field, not your fears of what hasn't happened. There is a spiritual trap few talk about, living in defense mode. You pray, but with protection in mind. You plan, but to avoid pain. You dream, but only if it feels safe. This vibrational stance weakens your field, because anything created from fear is anchored in fear, and when fear is the foundation, the structure always shakes. Psalm 27 invites you to another posture, a deeper one, a posture of still presence, of choosing moment after moment to come back to the now. Not because the future doesn't matter, but because the now is what shapes it. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing your frequency within it. It's about living not from anticipation, but from alignment. It's about shifting from, what if it doesn't work, to, how can I embody trust now, in this breath? You see, when you're fully in the now, something opens. The field clears, insights emerge, opportunities align. Not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of energy that attracts them. That's what presence does. It stabilizes your vibration so the universe can meet you with precision. So breathe. Let go of the future for a moment. Let go of the defenses, the what-ifs, the tight grip around tomorrow. Real strength isn't in shielding yourself. It's in staying fully present, even when you don't know what comes next. Because that's where the fortress lives, not outside you, but in your steady, grounded, vibrational yes to life here and now. Words alone don't change reality, but words felt, those change everything. Psalm 27 was never meant to be simply read. It was meant to be lived, to be breathed, to be worn on your skin like a quiet truth. Each verse is a vibrational key, each line a frequency waiting to be activated from within. But that activation doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in the body, in the breath, in the space between your thoughts. So let's turn this sacred text into a living, breathing practice. Close your eyes gently. Let your shoulders soften. Now, bring to mind a real situation in your life right now that challenges you, something that makes your stomach tighten, your chest feel heavy. Don't avoid it. Just be present with it. Now take a deep, slow breath in. 4 seconds. Hold it for 4. Then exhale slowly for 6. Again and again. Let your body start to settle. Let your nervous system remember what calm feels like. Now repeat silently in your mind, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" But don't just say it. Feel it. Imagine those words as a soft light entering through your breath and spreading through your body. Feel it warming your chest, softening your jaw, expanding your belly. Let the words become sensation. Let the idea become vibration. This is the difference between thinking about protection and vibrating as if you are already protected. Thought is fragile. Vibration is magnetic, and your body knows the difference. Your field knows. The universe knows. This is the technique. Choose one verse, any verse. Breathe with it, visualize with it. Let it soak into your cells. Let it become a state, not a sentence. Ask yourself, how would I move if I truly believed this? How would I speak if this were already real? What would shift in my energy if I embodied this right now? That's vibrational anchoring. It's what transforms prayer from ritual into power, from repetition into transformation. It's what allows your brain to create new connections. It's what tells your heart, you're safe now. It's what aligns your field with outcomes you can't yet see, but can already feel. And the more you practice, the more natural this becomes. The body begins to remember the feeling. The nervous system starts to trust the frequency. The prayer becomes muscle memory. You stop performing belief and start becoming it. And when you become it, reality bends to meet you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally resonated with it. So take this with you. Don't just say the psalm, be the psalm. Let it pulse in your walk, your voice, your gaze. Let it guide your posture, your choices, your tone. Because when the frequency lives in you, it no longer matters what happens outside you. What you radiate is what you receive. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek. There is a purity in that line that almost hushes the noise of the world. It's not poetic, it's powerful, not because of its religious tone, but because of the vibrational structure it reveals. In a world where we are pulled in so many directions, where desires are tangled with fears, where intentions are diluted by comparison and overthinking, this verse returns us to something primal, clean, magnetic. Maybe you've asked for many things in your prayers: health, peace, love, prosperity, clarity, and every one of those is valid. But here's the truth few dare to speak. When your soul is fragmented, when your desires pull in different directions, when your heart is split between fear and longing, your vibrational field weakens. The signal becomes distorted, and the universe, which responds not to your words but to your frequency, begins to stall. One thing I ask, that phrase carries a quiet firmness, a deep serenity, the kind that comes from someone who knows what they truly want and why they want it. This is the beginning of unified mind, the inner alignment that allows manifestation to become magnetic. Because when your desire is clear, emotionally clean, and energetically focused, it gathers momentum. It emits a frequency that cuts through noise. That draws reality toward you. Perhaps your heart is tired of chasing things that don't nourish you, tired of carrying desires that weren't even yours to begin with, goals handed down by others, dreams born from lack, expectations that never fit. Right now is a sacred moment to pause, to return inward, to ask, with quiet honesty, what is the one thing my soul truly longs for now? Not what looks good, not what impresses others, not what seems safe, but what resonates with truth. What sets your inner world on fire with meaning? That question isn't just reflective, it's purifying. It dissolves what is false. It burns away the excess. It quiets the mental clutter. And in its place, clarity arrives. Not loud but certain. Singular desire is not obsession. It's resonance. It's the state of a heart no longer split, a field no longer scattered. It's what makes you vibrationally strong enough to hold what you want when it arrives. And when you begin to vibrate with that singular focus, everything starts to align. Your energy stops leaking. Your mind stops wandering. Your actions become intentional. You speak less, but say more. You move slower, but with precision. And the field around you, always listening, begins to organize itself accordingly. This is the hidden secret of Psalm 27, a vibrational invitation to simplify, to return to essence, to cleanse your inner field from confusion, and to magnetize through unity. Because when your heart desires one thing truly, deeply, fully, and when that desire is born not from fear but from soul, that one thing becomes inevitable, not by chance, not by force, but by vibrational coherence. Imagine just for a moment that your mind is an ancient city, quiet, sacred, built not of stone, but of trust, a place surrounded by walls, not to keep others out, but to hold you steady within. These walls are invisible, but they are real. They're made of frequencies, of elevated emotions, of inner postures that don't collapse when life shakes. This is not a fantasy. This is your internal architecture, your invisible fortress. Psalm 27 doesn't talk about external protection. It's not about building a castle around your life. It's about cultivating the kind of inner structure that doesn't crumble when the storm arrives. The Lord is the stronghold of my life. That line isn't about safety in the world. It's about solidity within the self. It points to a mental model, a vibrational one, where your stability no longer depends on circumstances, but on coherence. But maybe no one ever taught you how to build this kind of fortress. Maybe your inner walls were formed through fear, not confidence. Maybe you've spent a lifetime bracing yourself, hoping not to be hurt, building defenses that protected you, but also isolated you. Now it's time to rebuild, not with force, not with hardness, but with steady, aligned energy. Every time you say with presence, "Whom shall I fear?" you lay another brick in that wall. Every time you choose a thought of trust instead of panic, you reinforce the foundation. Every time you feel peace in the middle of uncertainty, you expand your spiritual architecture. And this isn't abstract. Bruce Lipton reminds us, your environment is not just external, it's energetic. Every cell in your body responds to the emotional field around it. The frequency you hold becomes the signal your biology listens to. And so the structure you build inside, your beliefs, your inner conversations, your repeated emotions, they literally shape your biology, your energy, your outcomes. When this sinks in, something shifts. You stop seeking proof from the outside. You stop waiting for others to make you feel safe. You no longer need signs that it's working. You begin to realize, I am the vibration. I am the stronghold. I am the frequency I've been trying to attract. And in that realization, there is peace. Not the peace of escape, but the peace of rootedness. The peace that knows no matter what changes around you, you remain whole. This fortress doesn't separate you from the world. It stabilizes you within it. It doesn't make you hard, it makes you strong. It doesn't silence your feelings, it holds them with grace. And every time you come back to your breath, your body, your presence, you reinforce the vibration that makes this fortress real. So ask yourself now, softly, what kind of walls am I building within? Are they made of fear or of trust, of avoidance or of faith, of panic or of peace? Because the architecture you choose shapes the reality you live. And when your inner walls are built with emotional coherence, your outer world no longer dictates your inner state. You become the calm inside the storm, the clarity inside the noise, the vibration that shapes the field, not the one who waits for it to change. We've now arrived at the moment when Psalm 27 stops being just sacred poetry and reveals itself as what it truly is, a vibrational roadmap, a subtle architecture of inner strength, emotional clarity, and spiritual alignment, a living manual for anyone ready to turn silent faith into visible change. Throughout this journey, we've explored something most people overlook. True success, spiritual or material, is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to hold a consistent vibration in the midst of struggle, to remain inwardly steady while the outer world sways, to keep vibrating trust even when results haven't yet arrived. That's not easy, but it's the ground where miracles take root. Napoleon Hill taught that unwavering faith is the root of all true achievement, but that faith must have direction. It must be married to purpose. It must carry the energy of one thing I ask. Because scattered belief leads to scattered results, but focused belief, channeled belief, becomes a laser beam that reshapes reality. Joe Dispenza teaches that when the body vibrates what the mind believes, the quantum field responds like a mirror, not figuratively, literally. It reflects your inner coherence back to you. If what you feel matches what you think, and both are aligned with elevated emotion, then you become magnetically aligned with the outcome. That's not wishful thinking. That's vibrational physics. Psalm 27 in this light is no longer just a comfort. It becomes a model, a blueprint for what I call applied courage. The kind of courage that isn't loud but steady, not aggressive but unwavering, not showy but deeply felt. When you let this psalm live in your actions, your energy shifts. You stop waiting, you start embodying. So today, I invite you not just to read Psalm 27, not just to speak it, but to live it, to let its rhythm become your rhythm. Let its trust become your trust. Let its light become the frequency you carry into every room, every conversation, every decision. Let it be your frequency, not as a performance, but as a quiet, true presence. Because you've seen now, words don't shape your life. Vibrations do. Thoughts don't manifest, frequencies do. And you don't manifest what you hope for, you manifest what you are. So choose, gently but clearly, to become the frequency of Psalm 27. Walk as someone who no longer fears. Speak as someone who knows they are guided. Act as someone who already belongs to the vibration of their answered prayer. And I'll leave you with this final question, one that could open a new portal inside your life. What would shift around you if starting today you didn't just recite Psalm 27 but became it? The field is listening, and it always responds to the truest vibration you carry.